And now for Tracy's top 5 observations from the first 2 weeks of the season, but I ask you give me liberty with the numbers because a lot has happened. Probably one of the strangest stories of the season, though it's only a couple weeks old. Bills cornerback Vontae Davis abruptly retired at halftime in the game against the LA Chargers. Nobody's quite sure why, and Bills coach Sean McDermott didn't go into details, but Davis was nowhere to be seen in the second half. He said it was not how he planned on retiring, but he did nonetheless. Who retires in the halftime of a game? I don't know. I got nothing for you there. Filling in for the suspended Buccaneer quarterback Jameis Winston, Ryan Fitzpatrick, who everyone is now calling Fitzmagic, threw for more than 400 yards and 4 touchdowns for the second straight week, beating the Saints in Week 1 and the reigning Super Bowl champs, the Eagles, in Week 2. Have the Buccaneers found their new QB? He sure has found his new style. Fans were pinning their hopes on the Steelers for AFC champs this season, but Pittsburgh's record is 0-1-1, the exact same record as the Cleveland Browns, who they tied with in Week 1. The people of Steeltown are showing some cracks in their armor. Speaking of ties, for the second straight week, the NFL has had games that ended in a dead heat. It might be time for the NFL to re-examine the overtime rules. Otherwise, teams with worse records than others in their division might make their way to the playoffs, and nobody wants that, except those teams and their fans. The most recent tie is courtesy of Vikings former kicker Daniel Carlson, who missed 3 field goals total and 2 in overtime against the Packers. Carlson was released and Dan Bailey was signed by the Vikings. Hopefully they won't have that problem again. The NFL's new helmet rule is in full effect, with Bengals defensive back Sean Williams ejected for his hit on Colts QB Andrew Luck in Week 1, and Falcons cornerback DeMonte Causey's late hit on Carolina Panther quarterback Cam Newton in Week 2. That was a tough hit. Making up for Week 1, quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers squeaked out a 3-point victory against the Lions and, more importantly, managed to avoid any turnovers. Well, technically, there was that interception thrown, but it was called back due to penalty. Woo-hoo-hoo! And last but not least, Cleveland traded Josh Gordon to none other than the New England Patriots, where he'll probably go on to be like a Hall of Fame receiver, because that's what happens in New England. Belichick, am I right? See you next time for Tracy's Top 5, or however many numbers we need.